Hello everybody and welcome back to this series of building the Da Vinci Flyer by Cliff. So I haven't been idle completely, I have been up to things and I've pretty much finished the fuselage, not without some challenges. So first of all let me show you what I have and then I'll show you in a little bit of detail what I was doing. So there's the tail assembly in case you can't recognize it, and I've managed to configure the servo. So if I go with a transmitter, if I want to pull up I do this, if I want to go down I do that, if I want to go to the right it would be like this, and to the left it would be like that. So in theory this should work, at least the movements I managed to configure them on the transmitter, on the radio master, so that it works. And then if I look at from the front side, I've put two propellers to make it look like a four-bladed propeller, because I have the feeling the engine is not too powerful. But let's see if I can actually get it to move. The landing gear, as you might be able to see, the landing gear is a little bit awkward. It's biting in. It looks like the Tatra lorries from the Czech Republic. But that's one of the things that I've been actually doing. So let me show you slowly what I've been doing. So the battery hatch, I'm not sure if I've shown it already, looks kind of okay with two magnets there. I've managed to putting all the electronics. So at the top I have the battery and the receiver. I had to carving a little bit of the wood so that the receiver would be flush somehow, so that the battery hatch would be able to cover and somehow fit. It's still going to need two lips underneath that go under the wing. The rest of the electronics are relatively tidy in there. With the undercarriage, I have the feeling that I used too thin a wire, because it's really very flexible, and as it's quite a lot of weight on it, I put this rubber band to keep it from just one, like, kind of opening up and being squashed, but then that has the counter part that it kind of clamps in together too much. So I'm not sure if it works. Maybe I can put in another rubber band, a little bit of a bigger one, or put in two. I can experiment a little bit with that. And then what I've also done, the big progress is actually on the tail part, on the tail surfaces that you could see. So I've managed to put in the hinges with some thread, with some fishing. It is some fishing line thread. Maybe it's too thin. I glue it in with super glue, and it kind of holds, but I'm not sure how much it will hold. On a past experiment I did with this, actually it came out, but I'm hoping it doesn't. And I've also put on the tail skid just to make sure that it looks nice and that it's somehow on its tail. The big challenge actually was the push rods. I don't know if you can see there my mess. I decided to cross them over, which might not have been such a good idea, because I was thinking that if it goes on the outside then it would be maybe sticking out too much, but that might be the way to go. So this might be something, the push rods, that I might still change. Might need to cut these out. And as you can see, I had two push rods on. I have a pack of push rods that I got some time ago. This one, then if you can see it. So basically it's one on each end, and in the middle I put in a wire basically to allow for adjustment. But if I look at the movement, you're going to see it, and this is very depressive. You see, so they kind of hook on each other, they shift and things like that, because they're not straight, so they bend, and of course then they lose strength with that. So I would probably need to correct it a little bit. What I also had to do for this, I had to remove, there were two struts here, one strut here and one strut here. I had to remove them because the push rods were bumping into it, and then I had to put in one here basically to prevent the push rods from hooking up on themselves. So not my finest work, let's say, from that perspective. Room for improvement there. And then from the electronics, I think I'd already shown this in the past. I've got there the ESC, which is stuck with some Velcro, and everything seems to be nice and tight there. So that is basically the progress on this. So other than those improvements that probably would be needed, the fuselage part is complete. And what I still need to do then, or the next big step, is going to be the wings. And the wings are challenging because they've got a very strange shape, but at the same time it's going to be interesting, But the first project is going to be to clear the board, take everything off the plan, all the bits and pieces that I've been accumulating, turn the plan around and start then to draw the pieces, all the ribs and the leading edges and trailing edges and spars and things like that, which is going to be the interesting part. So that's going to be now the next steps, and I'll give you a bit of an update of where I am then building the wing. So time for an update on the building of the wings. So as you can see, I've got the ribs pretty much done. I'm using the trusted method of the masking tape, and I'm cutting out the holes basically one by one manually, and it is quite a lot of work, but it is actually therapeutic. I have kept all the holes in there. I've cut the holes just to weigh them, and I just weighed them and they come out around 3 grams in total in holes. So it's about the value or the weight of 2 of the medium-sized ribs. So is it a lot or not? I'm not sure. Is it worth it? I'm not sure, but it's enjoyable. So I'm not complaining at all about that one. I've also got the base ribs, the root ribs, which are a little bit thicker. I didn't have the 1/4 inch balsa, so I had to build it up out of 2/8 basically. And I still have other pieces to be done. So I've got the dihedral brace, which is here. It's upside down, but it's here. Also some other ply pieces that have to be done. And then the next big step is going to be to cut out the trailing edges and the leading edges, also out of 1/4 inch balsa, which I don't have. I have 7mm, but I think it's going to be okay because it's actually quite close. And then also of course the spars. So the spars have to also to be cut out. So quite a lot of work done, but still quite a lot more done. Quite a lot more left to be done to be able to assemble at least one wing. So let's see how it goes. And another progress report. So let's see what we have. So I've cut out all the, let's say, leading edge and trailing edge and wingtip, if you can call that, for both wings. As I'm doing one, then I do also the other one. It's just easier to do 2 at once. And I label them, and then what I want to do now is make sure that I have everything that I need, because in case something is missing. And I think this one goes here, so I'm just putting out all the components. This is the left wing, so just to make sure that it's complete. What is this? Is this something? TE4, yes, it's good that I labeled them. I'm missing TE3, which is a big one. I think it's here. This one, here it's labeled, but that's probably the other wing. So TE3 here. Okay, so I've got all the leading and trailing edges for the wing, and then I can look for the ribs. So let's say rib 1, which is the thick one. This one would go here, and then I'm going to have to do some modifications. Again, did I label these? This is rib 2, rib 3, which is the biggest rib I've ever done probably. Or is it rib 4? I'm not sure, but one of these is the biggest one that I've ever done. Let's see if it's this one, rib 4, which means that rib 5 comes here, and rib 6. So there I have all the components of the wing so far, but I'm still missing some crucial parts. There's some cross braces here that I think I'm going to leave for the end. What I'm still missing is the main spar, which is kind of important, and it's also got like the main spar is doubled in this section close to the center. It's actually doubled, and there's also this dihedral brace that I still have to figure out exactly how it's going to go. I think it goes like this, and then the most scary part is this kind of top spar that curves along. So it's got some cuts in the ribs, but it curves along, and that's what I'm basically more afraid of. But that battle is going to be then for the next chapter, because what I'm going to do now is try to cut out the main spar. And what I'm also going to have to do is, because the leading edges and trailing edges are 7mm instead of 6, when I put it in, it's actually not completely flat. Well, this one does happen to be kind of flat, but I might need to do a bit of adjustment to everything. So I'll be doing basically test fitting everything before I go ahead and glue. And the glue would be bottom spar in place, ribs in place, and then the top spar. So Still quite a lot to be done, but that's going to be then on the next chapter, because I think this one is already dragging on quite a bit. So follow me along on that one, and as always, thank you for following.